Hello, Internet. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, what have I done this week? I have set up my platform on Lounges TV. So, basically, all the artwork, all the films, all the podcasts, so all the visual and audio output that I've made over the last 20 years is being uploaded. So I've actually done quite well. There wasn't quite so much from the early years. 2008 to 2011 have been 2010 have been quite sparse. It was before smartphones. I had a really low quality Sony Handycam mostly. So I mean, the footage looks ancient, but it's so lovely to take myself back there and remember what those times were like. And what I do see, guys, is how incredibly free of constraint I was. I'm not like that anymore, and I need to shed these constraints that I imagine that are there that aren't really. I was much more rebellious and creative because of it, because rebellion enables you to be creative. And I'm lifted by watching all this stuff. I mean, yeah, it's rubbish, but it's a bit like when I first started music production. Yeah, it's rubbish, but it's also divine. The qualities of kind of tech, I suppose, in terms of slickness aren't there because I had no budget, I had no equipment, I was naive in my directing skills, but I can see what I was trying to do, and I do believe everybody else would as well. I mean, you've got to be interested in film. Don't be coming along if you just want content, because I mean, funny enough, I did think I was making shorts and reels way before anybody else started making shorts and reels, which I found was really interesting, because I used to clip stuff and just think, look, because it would take you down to a minutiae, an idea that it was so tiny but burgeoning in a scene. Say, I did one, for example, where the tea bag string, when you have a herb tea and you have that label hanging on the outside, they sort of turned into kind of butterflies. But I didn't do it using animation. I literally just got a hairdryer, and they fluttered, and then I cut the strings and they fluttered off. And it was just beautiful. It's a beautiful idea, simple, really simple, and sort of analog. Although it's done on digital film, it was a kind of analog idea, if you see what I mean. There weren't any processes involved. It was all kind of hands-on. And it's the same with my early music, exactly the same thing, where I didn't really know what I was doing. So if I bash, especially with the experimental stuff, if I bash something, or if I squeeze a string, or if I do this, or if I bang the piano, or what happens if I do a discord, rather than making beautiful music, if you see what I mean. It was much more daring. And I see latterly I've become much more sort of folk based and looking for those standard chord progressions. And I really want to get rid of that. I really want to get rid of all these sort of ideas that have been, have really been affecting the output in what I consider as a negative way. I really do think it's negative. There's something very beautiful about being raw. And when you start to polish it, it's just like fucking horrible, actually. Fucking horrible. Anyway, so Lounges TV is a British company, and I'm really, really pleased to be on there, because I wanted, if possible, with all my work, to use British systems, British companies, British hosting, British. Why? Because I'm absolutely petrified of America in business terms. I just don't think America can possibly be a good business partner for me. I mean, not, I'm British anyway, so sort of culturally, I don't know if my work even translates to America. It's harder to translate, I think, to a completely different cultural environment. So there's that first issue. Secondly, because of tariffs and, all of these things that Donald Trump is doing, they're all having a negative impact on small business. They're having a good impact on him because he's made billions since his presidency started, and his family have made billions. But they're not, he's not doing us any good at all. And he's not doing the creative arts any good at all. I mean, a man who, just slaps gold over it. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I do this as well. I gold leaf a lot of stuff. That's right. But a man who just, goes on about his ballroom constantly when he's in the middle of a war bloody meeting or a war press conference, you just think, oh, Mr. Tacky or what? Mr. bloody Tacky. So all of these things, and the fact that I'd really like to just say up yours, but of course you can't because unfortunately America, they're English speaking, so for English speaking cultural environments, they've got the finger on the pulse. I mean, think of iTunes. Although I've just taken all my music off of, it's going back up. My music is going back up on iTunes and Spotify, but all these companies are American. So how can you even make an inroad with your art or your music or your creativity if you don't embrace America? I mean, basically, you can't. What you would become is a local practitioner. So, if you were doing live performance, but you'd still probably want to be on YouTube. And of course, YouTube and iTunes are my main sort of partners, if you like. We have a partnership because they host my work. And as an artist, you have to bite the bullet, I'm afraid, because otherwise I'm not going to sit in my bedroom, make these incredible things that I make that I believe are incredible. And then, can you hear that? It's a baby crying in the background, not mine. It's not mine, honestly. You want it. I owe the world the messages that I'm trying to preach in the work that I make. And, to close yourself off from all of that is just completely nonsensical, utterly nonsensical. So, unfortunately, we have to toe the line a bit. However, Lounges TV, I'm delighted to say, is a British company. So you can go along to Lounges, and there's loads and loads of music on there, but there are other things as well. And I'm putting all of my films up there. So it's going to take me a while, probably as long to get all of my films up. I think there are about 14,000 films and podcasts to list, and I'm only doing 5 a day. So, I mean, it might get to the stage where, maybe if people start watching and subscribing, then maybe I could, get some help to upload the archive. I don't know if that would happen. But at the moment, it's just me. And I did about 10 yesterday, actually, but all the archives. So I'm up to 2011 today. From 2008, I believe, was my first. I think 2008 was my first video. So that would have been when I first signed up to YouTube. So it's 20 years ago. Is it? Yes, it is 20 years ago. I found out my car was 18 years old the other day. No, it's not 20 years old, is it? Right. No, I've got that wrong, guys. Sorry. It's 2008 and we are 2026. We've got another 2 years. Same age as my car. My car is 18 years old and my YouTube account is 18 years old. There we go. My maths is shoddy. I do apologise for that. Were you screaming? Silly cow. Anyway, I started drawing and making shoe art on eBay in about 2005. So that the archive of postcards, which are also going up now onto Redbubble, is 20 years old, or 21 even. So there's a lot to get up, absolutely loads. And I've just started on the stuff that I can see on YouTube and my Google photo account. I haven't even started on the big files that are in 2 computers that are now not used, so that I put everything on external hard drives. I haven't even started going through that stuff yet. That stuff is much more creative. It's the stuff that I was, the rushes, in fact, I made a film called Pound. It didn't complete because I just ran out of money. But I have all the tapes. I've actually got tapes. How incredible is that? Those little mini tapes, which I should go through and see what's there and see if I can make a new film. I'm pretty sure I can. I was working on a film called Undulation, and I wanted to incorporate the environment. Well, all of this footage, none of it's digital. I mean, it's digitally stored, as it were, and it's done on a digital camera, but it was all done in live situations. So in houses, but mostly outside. We did a lot of OB broadcasts, outside broadcasts. So, that would really work for some of the new stuff that I have in mind, some of my more creative films. So Lounges TV for the moment is completely archival, but this week, probably, if I get time, I am going to start the new live streams. So I'll just be streaming my life and my artwork, what I do each day, my music, lessons. You can book lessons on there and all that stuff. But for the time being, I've just sort of trying to get my head around these Brighton Arts Club archives, Goddamn Media archives. Goddamn Media came before Brighton Arts Club. I mean, it was kind of one and the same, really. But once we got a venue, we called it Brighton Arts Club, not Goddamn Media, for obvious reasons. So, I've got so much stuff, guys, so much stuff. And it's great because it kind of makes you feel very validated in terms of, look, I've been an artist for 20 years and I've been doing this. I need, I should have my sort of long-term medal. What do they call it when a soldier signs up for years? My dad was a sailor for 24 years. And, to do something for anything more than a decade really is hardcore. It's really hardcore. But then when you get to 20 years, you're starting to think, oh God, I haven't changed for 20 years. I'm still making art. I'm still trying really hard to communicate to the world outside and beyond, and to other cultures as well, the Americans. I'm still trying to say, this is what I believe, and this is how I think you should view the world, because you're not viewing the world properly. You need to look at it from my angle, because as an artist, I have a different angle, a very, very different angle. And it's nothing to do with, being slick or clever or political or mindful or, any of these things, although it is all of those things. But it's much more to do with the nuances that my brain and my take on the world, because of my experiences, can inject into a vision and some writing and some moving image. So there we go. Blink Friction Live is the shop, and Lounges TV, Elderescence by Sarnia de la Maré, FRSA, is all up and living with my archives. And there are literally tons of daily uploads. So it's worth your $5 subscription or whatever it is. And of course, eBay's free to go and have a look. Go and have a look, guys.